as a 15-year-old, I finally got a rest in my heart in a way that I couldn't turn away from, and I trusted Christ authentically at that point.
I put my faith in Christ first. I also grew up in church, so I was at a very young age, and we continued to go to church for many years, even after my father and mother decided they weren't going to attend anymore. But I originally first put my faith in Christ at Vacation Bible School when I was about 6 or 7 years old.
The circumstances that led to my conversion and putting my faith authentically in Christ were reaching a point of brokenness with my sin and with sins that had been committed against me. Even as a 15-year-old, those were many, and so I reached a point where God in His mercy broke me and drew me to Himself.
The circumstances surrounding me putting my faith in Christ was, we were very dedicated at church. We went every Sunday, every Sunday and Wednesday, and we were there all the time. We served the church. I was in youth ministry, so God arrested my heart through that time. Like I said, I gave my life to Christ whenever I was younger, but really didn't fully understand until I was a teenager and rededicated myself to Him.
I've seen God move in my life since the very moment that I put my faith in Christ and gave my life to Him, in that old habits and the sins that broke me still wrestled against the spirit within me. And so I spent the next decade after that running from God and attempting to hold both God and also cling to my sin. And I saw God move in my life by pursuing me and not letting me go, and revealing His goodness to me over and over, and convicting me and drawing me back to Him.
I've seen God moving in my life since putting faith in Christ, all throughout my childhood and adulthood. As a child, I watched the people walk the aisles. I've seen the backsliding. I've also been there, done that myself. And since I rededicated my life to Christ, I've seen Him pull and tug at me days on end. A lot of pride issues, a lot of sinful nature. I was living a life of not a Christian, and I've felt Him tugging at me and tugging at me and tugging at me, which led me back to Christ.
The biggest challenge to my faith would be my pride. There is a unique form of pride and also perfectionism that results from a background in legalism. A perfectionism as an attempt to measure up to some invisible standard, and the pride that says that as long as I look okay on the outside, then I'm okay. And so my entire walk with Christ has been to wrestle against that, to surrender my control, to surrender perfectionism without surrendering a dedication to being sanctified and to reflecting His image. So God carving in His sanctifying surgery those things out of me has been the biggest challenge to my faith.
The challenges that I've faced in my faith have also been pride. I've had a very prideful life, and for a long time I thought I did it for myself. I didn't need God to do it, and God had to break me and change me, which He did. And so to this day, I still struggle with pride. But not only that, my other struggles have been, all the sins of the flesh that I think everybody goes through. Greed, money, respect from people, wanting respect from people. Also, needing notoriety, needing to know that that I did it myself. You know what I mean, without God, and thank God he crucified my flesh for me and made me kneel down and every day I thank Him for that.
God has helped me overcome the challenges to my faith. First of all, by doing it for me. Everything good is from Christ. At a point when I was running from God, but also still trying to have an outward image of a Christian who was engaged in a relationship with God when I wasn't. I saw God begin to work on both me and my husband to draw us to a truly surrendered Christian life, and that was both simultaneous and also different. And it's really cool to just look back and see how God worked on both of our hearts together. And I watched Wes begin to pursue Christ, and through that, and also in his own individual, unique way with me, God wrestled that, carved and sanctified that pride and that perfectionism and that facade away from me and out of me, and drew me to a true engaged relationship with Him.
God has helped me overcome my challenges. We'll tackle pride first. I was a very prideful man, and he met me with the medical scare, and I hit a wall where I totally gave up everything that I thought I was, and put all my faith in Christ, and leaned on Him and threw everything at His feet. And as far as everything else goes, through that walking with Him and breaking to me, I've also learned not care about money, not care about the things of the flesh, trust in Him and bring people to Jesus. I had after I had my son Sheldon, I decided that I needed to get back in shape, and I wasn't real out of shape, but I decided that I wanted to live longer and I wanted to do the things that it took that I just ignored for a long time. And like I said, I've did drugs, smoked a lot, drank, all the sinful things that you can think of, and so I just went in for a regular checkup, and through those checkups, they said that I had a high blood cell count and wanted me to go to an oncologist and do a little more investigation. And so I don't know if you've ever been to an oncologist, but they'll do your blood test, and then it's 2 weeks before you get any kind of results back. And through those 2 weeks, I reflected on every time I've seen Jesus Christ in my life and rejected Him, and I hit a wall. So at that time, I threw everything at His feet.
That's great.
I know Jesus is alive today because more and more God carves me into His image. More and more I reflect Him. More and more my flesh is crucified. More and more I desire Him and love Him and hate my sin and desire less of that. I see Him and His goodness to me in my life, and in the beauty from ashes that He's made of my life, and in the testimony of my husband, and in His goodness to me, His love for me, and in the way that I'm new and that I desire more and more of Him.
I know Jesus Christ is alive today because the beauty He made out of the ashes that I was, first of all. Second of all, I see Him every day in my walk. I see people that are broken every day, and in the sin, in the flesh, and the sinful nature that I was in before, and He redeems those people. I've seen people walk alongside of me, walk alongside of my wife. Every day that I wake up, I see Jesus Christ in the sky. Like I just see all the beauty that I never saw before, never took the time to see before, and through my family. I see my children growing up through it, through my wife, through a lot of people in my family. So he's alive for sure. I can say that for sure.